What's going on, everybody? How are you? Welcome to Cocktails in the War Room. Ooh, I have very fluffy hair. What is going on? Tonight we're going to try something. I don't know if it's going to work, but we're going to try something and see if we can get it to work. I don't know if we're going to be able to, but I want to see if I can put somebody on this video with me. People have been asking me to do it, and I don't know if I can. So I'm going to give it a shot and see if I can get it to work. The profile pages and the public pages run different. Oh, it's not letting me do it. Oh, I told Stiz that he needed to be home and sober, and I wanted to see if we could add him, but it's not letting me add him. Stiz, you're so close yet so far. Everybody's been asking me to add, see if I can get Mike Shue on here or whatever. So I thought we would experiment with Stiz like I did when I took him to Vegas and took him to LA, and everything I read said that I should be able to click on him and get him on here, and it's not working. Damn it. Stiz, I'm sorry. I don't know why it's not working. I'm trying so hard. Damn it. Let me see. Now Stiz is laughing at me. Bastard. That's not it. No. Now I have pizza on my screen. No, that's not it. Oh, man. I was hoping if I went through some of these options. Yeah, no, that's not it either. Damn it. Now I'm a talking cat. All right, now I know how to make myself a talking cat on Facebook Live, but for some reason I cannot get a connection on here with another person. Yeah, and now everybody's laughing at me. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the now failed Cocktails in the War Room. Cheers to my failed experiment. We've been on for 3 minutes and we already fucked it all up. I took the sticker off the bottom of the cup, by the way. I don't know who it was the last time I used my skull mug. It was yelling at me about the sticker. I finally got it off. So, how are you guys? What's going on? What's up, Joker? Hey, Seth in Colorado. Mary, aloha. I know she's hanging out in Hawaii. So if you guys are checking this out from, say, outside of Massachusetts or outside of New England, let me know in the comments where you guys are watching the live video from so that we can say hello to everybody. What's going on? How was your day today? I would like to announce that today I built a squash tower. I've never been able to say those words out loud before, but I, in fact, constructed a squash tower in my garden today. I ordered it. I ordered a pea tower as well, which sounds like something completely non-garden related. But I had them, and they've been in my garage waiting for spring. And I went outside and put them together today. Hey, from Maine, Daniel, what's going on? So today I spent a couple hours out in the garden and I constructed a squash tower. I felt very accomplished. It's sad, really, that this is how I'm measuring success on a day-to-day basis. But there was a certain sense of accomplishment. What's up, Damien? Watching in Cape Coral, Florida right now, and a transplanted masshole. Heather's up in Londonderry. Jamie says his first day working from home in Charlestown. Phil's in Texas, but born near Boston, so he's out there wearing funny hats and belt buckles now. So for vegetable squash, yes, Lou, like growing stuff in the garden. I grow stuff out there in the yard. non-weed related, like squash and other stuff. What is a squash tower, Lori wants to know. It's like a tunnel, a metal tunnel that's got netting up the both sides, and you plant the squash on either edges, and then it grows up and over, and then the squash is supposed to grow and hang down so that it doesn't spread and take up all the square footage of your garden, and then it makes it easier to pick the squash. I don't know if it's going to work. Jonathan says, I would like to see your pea tower. Well, I don't have it put together yet. The squash tower took enough out of me today. So is a pea tower an LB excuse? Ron wants to know. It just might be. I don't know. But I thought it would be fun to tell you guys that my major accomplishment for the day was that I constructed a squash tower. I didn't even know things existed. I saw it on the internet. I bought it, and now it's in my garden. Anthony's up in Vermont. How's your maple syrup coming? David's down in Rhode Island. Kim says, I'm jealous. I can only grow green onions. I kill everything else. Green onions are pretty easy, and you should be able to grow mint because that's hard to kill too. So congratulations, John. He said his COVID-19 test is negative. Says his garden's on the way. Well, it's nice to know that your COVID test was negative. That just means you have some other strange germs lurking around in there if you were feeling some kind of symptoms. But I'm glad that you're feeling better. Heather says she does that with cucumbers. It's brilliant. Exactly. And I love that every night since I told you guys the story that someone like Will's doing right now just comments blueberry cobbler. It just makes me smile knowing that you guys are all in the loop now about the blueberry cobbler story. It just makes me happy. All right. Let's talk about what's going on. They announced another One World Together at Home concert that's going to happen on ABC on April 18th. That is going to feature Billie Joe Armstrong from Green Day, Eddie Vedder from Pearl Jam, Stevie Wonder, John Legend, Paul McCartney, and Billie Eilish. And speaking of Billie Joe Armstrong from Green Day, my old school retro concert shirt selection for you guys is Lollapalooza 94. That is Smashing Pumpkins. It is the Beastie Boys, George Clinton and the Parliament Funkadelic, the Breeders, A Tribe Called Quest, Nick Cave, L7, and Green Day. And I believe Lollapalooza 94, that was down at the airport in Rhode Island, right? You guys are going to have to double check my math on that one, but I'm pretty sure it is. Johnny checking in from Mississippi. What's going on, Johnny? How is asparagus to grow? I don't know because I think asparagus is disgusting and I don't eat it, so I don't grow it. I have no idea. I don't grow artichokes either, but I did grow Brussels sprouts and it was pretty awesome. I only like Brussels sprouts with bacon, but I like them with bacon, so I eat them. I agree that David Gilmour should do an acoustic guitar show for this. I agree. I would love to see more artists doing these, and more artists are doing them, and it's pretty cool. John says, whoa, throwback. Exactly. Jenny says, no, it was in Mansfield. All right, well, there you go. This is Lollapalooza 94. So that was a good one. Today, unfortunately, the United States crossed the boundary of 10,000 casualties in the United States to coronavirus. And a shocking announcement came from New York that they are going to begin. Now, I want to preface this by saying this is temporary, but in New York City, they are going to begin temporarily interning coronavirus casualties in local parks. They're calling it temporary internment, and they're going to build trenches that hold 10 caskets at a time, and they're going to bury people there until the system can catch up where these people can have funerals and be buried. And I saw that, and it's kind of, Jimmy! And it kind of scared the crap out of me that people are passing away so quickly in the New York City area that they're going to start temporarily burying them in trenches in public parks. So if you are someplace that maybe is not being as hard hit right now as New York, that's what's going on there. And so, like we were talking about last night, just count yourself lucky that you're not in a place that's dealing with that. One thing that I saw online that I thought was really kind of interesting is that a lot of people are, kind of criticizing New York for not being able to kind of handle what's happening with them. And what I've noticed is that it's a lot of people criticizing New York that are in places that get hit really hard with other things. For example, if you are criticizing New York for not being able to handle this, and you live in a place that experiences chronic flooding, droughts, mudslides, tornadoes, hurricanes, wildfires, blizzards. I mean, those are all things that usually happen regionally and seasonally. There's a place called Tornado Alley in the United States. We have a hurricane season. So yes, even though those things happen and they're going to happen, it is still possible to be overwhelmed when something historic happens, like a Hurricane Katrina or the fires that they had last year in California. It is possible that you can be prepared for something and it still be even worse than you were prepared for. So there just seems to be this noticeable lack of empathy with everybody right now. And I think empathy is something that's really, really important for us all to have right now. Just to be able to put ourselves in the shoes of someone else and to, on one hand, be happy that it's not happening to us, but on the other hand, want to be able to lend a hand and at least be able to feel something for other people. I just feel like empathy right now is in such short supply, and I just really don't think that we're going to get through this as a country if we're motherfucking the guys over there that weren't as prepared, because this is a virus and anybody can catch it and it can go anywhere it wants and you can't see it and it's really hard to fight. So let's just all try to have a little bit more empathy than we've had would be great. One of the things that is a symptom of a lack of empathy is Walmart and some grocery stores are trying an experiment to have one-way aisles in stores. Now, I've never understood why they didn't do this in the first place, because I don't know about you guys, but I always go up and down the store the same way. I like to go up and down every aisle, even though I don't need to go down the baby aisle. I go down the baby aisle anyway, unless I know I'm going to be really hungover and I need to get Pedialyte, and then I really need to go up and down the baby aisle. But I always go up and down the same way. And then you end up in the frozen food section and go, oh shit, I forgot to get oranges. And then you got to hustle it all the way to the other side of the store to get oranges. And while I think it's a great idea that everyone will be going in the same way, what happens when you're like halfway through the store and realize you forgot something? They're going to need to make some passing lane, or are we going to develop rotaries at the back of the store? And then we're going to need some kind of pamphlet as to who has the right of way. And obviously people in Massachusetts are going to be bashing other people's carts and flipping people off for not being fast enough or slow enough. Or, Staz, did you just call me a weirdo? This is like real stuff. They're making like directions in the supermarket now, because obviously there are so many issues with people that are in the store forgetting stuff, talking, leaving their cart in the middle of the aisle while they're getting something on the other. There's obviously a lack of decorum in the store. Heidi wants to know if we're supposed to follow the robot. Now, I don't know if the people that are hanging out in Texas and in Florida and other places down south, if you guys have the creepy robots in the supermarkets down there yet, but up here, there's giant creepy robots in the supermarkets with giant bulbous creepy Terminator Skynet robot eyes, and it'll freak you out if you don't know it's coming. I don't know if you're supposed to follow the creepy supermarket robot or not, but Anthony says, see, Pedialyte, not just for babies. I drink that stuff too. Okay. The rock industry has been drinking Pedialyte for years because Dimebag Darrell and Vinnie Paul told us to, because it works. And have you noticed that just in the last 6 months, Pedialyte is actually advertising for adults that are hungover as fuck to drink Pedialyte? Did you see that commercial of the dad on the floor in the kitchen? We all know what that feels like. And he's chugging the Pedialyte and the little girl comes like, that's mine. And he's like, I'll buy you a pony. We've all been in that I'll buy you a pony moment. I'm just so happy that Pedialyte has finally acknowledged and accepted their role in adults' lives and not just for kids, that we have a role in the Pedialyte purchasing as well. Do they really call that creepy supermarket robot Marty? Is that really his name? Somebody just posted up there. I don't know if it is or not. What's up, Gomez? Kim says electrolytes. Yes, exactly. I don't know how many electrolytes are in Fernandez's sangria, but it's delicious. Adam says, I hate those people that leave the shopping carts in the middle of the aisles. Yeah, me too. So that's what I'm saying. Like, empathy. We need to be a little more self-aware. You need to not throw your mask and gloves in the parking lots of the supermarket. Those 17-year-old kids making minimum wage that are out there fetching the carriages that you're too lazy to bring back into the store. They're not donning hazmat suits to pick up your gross, nasty, coronavirus-filled gloves. So pick that shit up and throw it in the trash barrel. Please. Okay. I told you about the squash tower. Now, because so many people are quarantined and social distancing and they are hanging out in their homes, there's a lot of weird stuff happening with wildlife around the world. Have you seen the footage of like giant wild cats and that are showing up in towns and cities around the world because there's no traffic? That like the wildlife, we're starting to understand what life would be like in Chernobyl. Like after all the people are gone, how the wildlife shows back up again. There's like turkeys running around in the south end in the city right now. And one other thing that I saw that was really strange is that there is a zoo in Hong Kong, and for the first time in 10 years, they caught their pandas mating naturally. They've been watching these pandas for a decade, trying to see if they will mate naturally. The pandas' names are Ying Ying and Li Li, and they're at the Ocean Park Zoo in Hong Kong, and they just watched them in high definition mate for the first time in a decade. And now they're hopeful that they're actually going to procreate naturally because they've been artificially inseminating them and whatever. And I'm wondering if it's because nobody's in the zoo gawking at them and now they just feel like getting it on because nobody's staring at them through the glass and banging on the plexiglass. And if you Google it, you will find the video, which I watched because I was really curious how pandas mated naturally. I wasn't sure which way they were going, and now I know, and knowing's half the battle. So I learned something new today, but they're bored, Lou says. Exactly. Mark says there's turkeys all over Swampscott. Panda porn is a thing? Yes, it is. You get paid to watch pandas mating. Heidi, I'm unemployed. I'm not getting paid to do shit, but there are people in the zoo at Ocean Park in Hong Kong that, yes, are getting paid to watch pandas mate. And I, as an unemployed person right now, would like to volunteer for that job because it was kind of funny and it made me laugh. Is there strange noises, Heidi wants to know? I don't know. Maybe. I would assume so. I don't know. But they were cute. Who were they mating with? Each other, Tom, you weirdo. David says panda style. Yes, I didn't know panda style was a thing. Now I know. Kind of like doggy style. Not exactly. Sheila says there's now Fisher cats in Worcester. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like the lack of traffic on the roads, the lack of noise in the cities, the lack of people around, all of a sudden the animals are starting to take back over again. And it's a little bit creepy. I will tell you this, the freaking porcupine that Wednesday went after, remember like a week and a half ago I told you that I took, after too many glasses of Fernandez's sangria, I took Wednesday out at like 1 o'clock in the morning. And she went after the biggest freaking porcupine I've ever seen. We've seen that porcupine 3 times in the last week and a half. There's also a lot of bunnies in my yard. Sheila says, oh no, Sabrina says, I knew you were freaky. Look, I spend my days either building squash towers or looking for weird things on the internet to talk to you guys about. And when I see a story about pandas mating for the first time in a decade, and there's a video, yeah, I'm watching the video for you. You're welcome. I wanted to be able to talk to you about these pandas mating because I thought with everything else going on, it might be nice to just talk about that for a change instead of everything else that's going on. Greg Smith says they say seismic readings have gone down all over the world. Doesn't surprise me. There's not as much construction. There's not as much traffic. The world is quieter. Have you noticed that just going outside? Oh, I almost spit up sangria. Just going outside, it's kind of eerily quiet. And you're like I feel like I'm in one of those I'm the last person on the planet movies, and it's freaking scary sometimes. Keep the bunnies away from your garden, Allison says. Oh, trust me, I'm working on it. After the turkeys, expect coyotes to follow them inland. I saw one at Flax Pond about a week ago. I'm telling you, wildlife is taking back over. So what do you guys think about the one-way thing in the supermarket? I think it's kind of a good idea. Is Wednesday sleeping, Jeff wants to know? Yes. And I'm warning you right now, I'm giving you guys a heads up. Today's the 6th of April. Wednesday's birthday is the 11th of April. I expect photos of your pets celebrating Wednesday's birthday, which you can tweet to me on Twitter at Mistress Carrie or Instagram at Mistress Carrie WAF. And when you can tag Wednesday in those too, because Wednesday has her own Instagram, which is Wednesday the Goth Pug on Instagram. That's what's happened to me. I used to have a radio show, and now I have a pug with an Instagram page. But her birthday's on the 11th, so get ready for the pug birthday party. I don't know how we're going to celebrate it yet, but I got a few days to figure it out. Speaking of birthdays, if today is your birthday, every night we toast to the people celebrating their birthday by themselves. So happy birthday if today's your birthday. You share it with Merle Haggard today and also Frank Black from the Pixies. So happy birthday. Okay. Rick says, Carrie, don't forget, this is not normal. None of this. Trust me. I know. I feel like I woke up in the upside down world on Stranger Things, and every freaking day I'm just like, is this the same planet? Like, this morning I woke up and I went to turn the radio on and was reminded again that AAF's not there anymore. You would think by now it would be in my brain, but it's just taken. I'm allowed to like forget at ridiculous little times, and it happened to me again today. It was just so strange. Do I have an Amazon wish list for Wednesday? No, but if I'm not too busy building a squash tower tomorrow, maybe I'll create one. But her birthday is coming up. Karina says, Billy Corgan, I love your shirt. Yeah, if you're just tuning in, this is my retro concert shirt of the day. This is Lollapalooza 1994. Where can I get that mug? Phil wants to know. I don't know. Somebody gave it to me. I really like skulls, and I collect skulls. Maybe some night I'll show you guys the skull collection in the other room. But so when people see things, Angela, my Auntie Ange says her friend Helen turned 90 today. So everybody cheers to Helen. She made it 90 years, and she's still kicking. So way to go, Helen. I'm sorry I'm slurping, but you got to eat the fruit in Fernandez's sangria. It's so good. It's delicious. When can we go in the outside? I don't know when we're all going to be allowed to go back outside. Barbara wants to know, how do your nails still look so great? Because I got skills, baby. Hair's going to be on point too. You guys are not going to watch me fall apart on Facebook Live. It's not going to happen. I am prepared. The zombie prepping wasn't just stockpiling vodka and pasta. You are killing me with the used to have a radio show. This whole year has been nothing but a nightmare. I know. It's like I have to remind myself, like, oh, wait, you don't, like, AAF's gone, like, you're laid off. It's a whole thing. I have to go through it every day. It's like, that Adam Sandler movie, 50 First Dates, and like you wake up and it's like you have to go through the videotape to remind yourself about everything that happened before you can continue on with your day. It's kind of how I feel right now. It's like that 5 seconds when you wake up in the morning where you forget about the coronavirus, you forget that you're furloughed from work, you forget that people are sick. Like you have that 5 minutes of bliss and then you're like, fuck. That's what I had this morning. You know what else I did today besides construct the squash tower for my garden? I finished the friggin' Tiger King. There was a time right around episode 4 where I was like, screw this, I can't do it anymore. I'm not watching the rest of it. But I watched it so that I get all the memes. Jeff Lowe leaked that there's an episode coming, another episode. But I watched all the episodes and I hate them all. There isn't anyone on that show that I like. The only person, or I guess the only 2 people that I kind of like are the guy with the creepy clown prosthetic legs and the girl that had her arm bit off. Other than that, and I only kind of maybe like them a little, everybody else I hate. And the fact that like there are so many giant cats in the United States is a total side note to the freakiness of the show if you haven't seen it. I'm sorry, but nobody should have a friggin' tiger in the United States. You just shouldn't have them. I don't care about Texas and live free or die or people in Florida or Oklahoma or whatever. No, you shouldn't have a farm full of tigers, okay? Get a pug and just find a hobby. Build a squash tower. Do something else to keep yourself occupied. But you don't need tigers in the yard. Feeding them buckets of old, gross Walmart meat. Yeah. And Jen says, didn't care about that show. Trust me, I didn't want to watch it. Then I did. Then it was like I couldn't stop. Then it was like I actually kind of wanted to know if they sent that creepy weirdo to jail or not. And I'm trying to figure out if Carol Baskin really covered her husband in sardine oil and fed him to the cats. I don't know the answers to any of these questions. All I know is that I watched the friggin' show and I feel dirty for having watched it. I want to watch something that makes me feel good about the world. Right now, I don't feel good about any of them. Anthony says, I haven't seen anyone. You don't want to see it. It's just awful. Billy said, did you ever watch Ray Donovan? No. And everybody told me I should watch Ray Donovan, and I haven't watched it. I've never watched, oh God, there are like 4 shows that everybody screamed at me that I didn't watch. I'll put up a list. We'll talk about it tomorrow. I'll let you guys make fun of me tomorrow about the shows that I should have watched that I never did. And maybe I will watch those now that I'm stuck in the house. With mine and the women's stimulus, we can buy a tiger. Yeah, you learn on this show that you could buy a tiger cub for like $2,000. Then you watch this redneck asshole stuff a couple of cubs in a carry-on roller suitcase and walk them through a casino in Vegas, and you just want to punch them in the dick. Sorry, that was my inner voice just came out. Have you guys noticed that the more I'm off the radio, the more I'm swearing and threatening physical violence on other people? Scroll back to 5 minutes ago when I was talking about having empathy for everyone. Empathy for everyone but the assholes on Tiger King. There you go. Okay. I picked something for the War Room to show you guys tonight. If you're new to these videos, I apologize to people that watch them every night if I'm a little repetitive, but there's new people that are always coming in. The room in my house I call the War Room. Every night I pick something and I show you guys because I collect all kinds of weird, strange stuff from family and friends. So what I picked tonight, prop you guys up so I can hold this thing. What I picked tonight, after I got home from Iraq in 2006, I got invited by the Barnstormers out in Westfield, the 104th Air Wing out there from the Mass Air National Guard, the 104th Fighter Wing, I should say, not Air Wing. They invited me to go on a flight in an F-15 Eagle, which I got to do. So they came into the studio. I got to say what's up to Smitty because I think he's watching. So they showed up at the radio station with a big framed invitation of a picture of the F-15 and invited me to come fly in the jet, which of course I was like, fuck, yes, of course. And so then, now you got to remember, this is before the Miracle on the Hudson, which I believe happened in January of 2009. Captain Sully landed in the Hudson, the whole thing. So I had to go for an entire day out to Westfield, and I had to go into like training, like virtual reality, cockpit, emergency procedure training for like 8 hours. And the whole reason that they did that was they wanted to make sure that I went through emergency procedures when I was overseas with troops in Iraq and Afghanistan as well. But I thought it was really strange that I was going up in a fighter jet with a fighter pilot and that I had to know how to do the emergency procedures. So I went into the mock-up, I did the whole thing, I took it really seriously. And it was all about reading the compass, so if something happened to the pilot who was sitting in front, just like, not quite like Top Gun, but imagine a plane kind of like Top Gun with glass canopy, the whole thing. And the biggest thing they stressed about was bird strikes. Now, this was before the Miracle on the Hudson, and I was kind of laughing because I'm like, oh yeah, a flock of birds is going to take down an F-15. And they were like, yeah, we're not kidding. Like, you need to be prepared for this. So the training that they put me through in the mock-up over and over and over again was if one bird hit the glass canopy, it would ruin the structural integrity. If a second bird hit the same place, kind of like if a rock hits the exact same place that's spiderwebbed on your windshield, that there's a chance the rock could come through the windshield the second or the third time. So they were talking about that with the birds, with the canopy of the F-15. And if a bird got through the canopy, it would hit the pilot and either kill him or knock him out. And now the purple-haired DJs in the back seat expected to fly the fighter jet. So I'm in this mock-up doing these maneuvers going. So my instructions were fly east, get below 15,000 feet, dump the fuel over the ocean, and eject me and the pilot. And literally for 8 hours, they just put me through how to do that. So if you ever look through the photo gallery or you saw the video of me flying with Wad, my co-pilot, in the F-15, like I put the suit on and did the whole thing, but I really took it seriously. And I wanted those guys to know that I appreciated the opportunity and that I was going to take it seriously. And so I really wanted to show them like, okay, and I just did it over and over again. Go east, over the water, get below 15,000 feet of altitude, dump the fuel, eject the pilot. I just did it over and over again. So then the day of my flight, the orientation flight they called it, I got matched up with my pilot, Wad, who is awesome. He's retired now and flies commercial airliners. So just know that when you get onto the next time you need to fly someplace, that you actually want to go someplace, that a lot of those pilots are trained fighter pilots and you're fine. So anyway, so I meet Wad, we're going over everything, and they have to file a flight plan. And then he asked me to go over all the emergency procedures and everything that I learned in the mock-up the day before. And I went over, I was like, Wad, I got it. I studied, I paid attention, go east, get below 15,000 feet of altitude, dump the fuel, eject the pilot. And I just kept repeating it. And because I'm a skydiver at the altimeters, all of that, like I had a little bit of a leg up. And he goes, Carrie, that's perfect. I want you to do all of that except the last part. And I was like, what? The eject the pilot part? And he was like, yeah, eject yourself. Don't eject the pilot. I want to go down with the plane. I don't want to be the fighter pilot that got saved by the DJ. Now, I just met this guy like 25 minutes before. And I was like, sucks to be you, dude, because I want to be the DJ that saves the fighter pilot. So I'm totally ejecting you and you can be mad at me later. And we're still friends to this day. It was one of the most amazing things I've ever done in my life. So the thing that I want to show you is they have to file a flight plan when you go up in these fighter jet orientation flights. And this is my flight plan. So this flight pattern is Westfield. This is the Cape and the Islands. We went up over Mount Washington, did dogfight maneuvers up there, came back down, and then came back down. This is like Route 2 corridor, and then ended up going back to Westfield. So This is like what they have to file with the FAA and all of that stuff before you go up in a fighter jet, which I thought was really cool. And our call sign, if you can see up here, was Havoc. So we were Havoc 1, and yes, they let me get on the radio and request a flyby. Yes, they told me the pattern was full, and then we did it anyway, and it was pretty awesome. Sean wants to know if Wad is watching. I don't know if he's watching or not. I haven't spoken to him in a while since he retired from the military, but it was amazing. It was awesome. I loved every minute of it. He let me fly the plane. We actually flew over Boston and held up air traffic at Logan for a few minutes because they wouldn't let any jets take off out of Logan because there was a fighter jet in the air, which I got to tell you, there's a reason why fighter pilots have a certain swagger and they kind of walk around like they're total badasses, and it's because they're total badasses. But I thought you guys would think it was really interesting. I told you I save everything. I save my old concert shirts. I save the paperwork from when I got to fly in a fighter jet. But they filed the whole flight plan, filed everything. And then if you missed the video and everything, they promised me that I was either going to puke or I was going to pass out. And I told them that I have an iron stomach and that there was no way that I was going to puke. So I had the flight suit on. They begged me, do not under any circumstances just throw up in a fighter jet, like puke in a bag if you need to. So in the flight suit, there were 6 pockets, and they put a puke bag in every pocket, and they numbered them so that I couldn't sneak a bag and puke and not have to cop to it because there was money on the line. So I was like, guys, there's no way I'm puking. I can guarantee you I am not going to puke in this plane. It's just not happening. He did, however, get me to pass out, even though I was wearing the suit that plugged into the plane that squeezed you with like the inflatable chaps and all of that stuff. And it's because we were doing 680 miles an hour and I was going 9 Gs. And my vision went boo. And I just felt my head kind of go like this. And then it went down like that and back up. And I was like, all right, Wad, you got me. And I have the flight audio, the cockpit audio. And he was laughing. And he was like, when anybody asks you what it takes for you to finally shut up, it's me giving you the big 9. And that meant 9 Gs. So if you're wondering how it is that I can sit on Facebook Live and tell you these long-winded ass stories and why it is that I don't shut up, it's because it took 680 miles an hour and 9 Gs to finally get me to shut up. So there you go. There's my story. Scott McLaren wants to know if I'm still saving Pez dispensers. Yes, I am. Mickey says, Havoc, F-15, 104th Fighter Wing, Mass Air National Guard, Barnes, Air National Guard Base, Massachusetts. Hell yeah, dude. You guys are the best. So awesome. So professional. Just amazing. You know, you can sleep well at night knowing that, you know, those guys are at the ready because they are just absolutely awesome. Did you have a flight simulator? War Thunder Elsa wants to know. There was a simulator, and one of the things that they had me in a virtual reality goggle thing, they put me in a hanging harness, and it was to see if I could control the parachute if I, in fact, ejected over the water like they trained me to do. And it was the only part of it I was really good at because I'm a skydiver, and I was like, oh, landing a parachute. I know how to do this. It was probably better than any parachute landing I've ever done for real. What are you eating, Mark wants to know. It's the freaking fruit in Fernandez's sangria. Every time I take a sip, I'm getting a chunk of that delicious fruit that's got all the booze in it, and I can't not eat it. I apologize if I'm chewing in your face, but it's so good. Kenny says, cool story, bro. I wanted to show you guys something different. So there you go. There's my flight plan from my F-15 flight from 12 years ago. But I know I'm probably never going to fly in a fighter jet ever again. So I saved absolutely everything. And then look at here. It says WAD. And then they wrote on the thing, Mistress Carrie. Of course I had to save it. So there you go. What I did not do, because I'm a slack ass today, was pick out a cocktail out of the recipe book. I don't have one ready, so I'm just going to flip the pages and open one. Okay. This is called Viva La Donna. 2 ounces of tequila, 2 ounces of passion fruit juice, 2 ounces of fresh orange juice, and 2/3 of an ounce of fresh lime juice. Shake the ingredients and strain into an ice-filled highball glass, and that's called Viva La Donna. So every night I like to give you guys a drink recipe in case you're looking to spice things up at home with your bar, or maybe you got a bottle of something in the back of the cabinet that you don't know what to do with. So I try to give you guys a drink recipe every night. So there you go. So you got your story from the war room, you got the retro t-shirt, you got your drink recipe. I'm still chewing the fruit. Terrence says, my dad retired U.S. Army, Master Sergeant, 30 years, top recruiter for 4 years in a row, 2 different decades. It's still backwards, Sean says. I'm sorry. How long did it take to get to Mount Washington from Barnes? Jared wants to know. Okay, let me tell you the story really quick. I apologize if I'm long-winded. We took off out of Westfield, and he said he was going to fly slow to get me acclimated with the cockpit and my seat, and to make sure that I was going over everything in the cockpit so I knew where everything was. So we took about 5 minutes to fly from Westfield to Provincetown, slowly in a fighter jet. We flew around Provincetown. We flew around the islands. We were about 3,000 or 4,000 feet above some of the beaches on the Cape, and it was a beautiful summer day. I think it was August. And actually, I'm looking at the thing on the wall. It was August 23rd, 2008, to be specific. So it took about 5 minutes to get from Westfield to Provincetown. We went around the Cape and the islands. Then we went up to Boston, and we flew over Logan, which is when air traffic halted. And then then Wad asked me in the headset, well, what do you want to see in Boston? And so I saw the Pike, and I said, let's go fly over Fenway. And at that time, they were putting the decking down for a Neil Diamond concert at Fenway. And so we were flying over Fenway, and I was like, oh my God, this is really cool. And we were at 5,000 or 6,000 feet, I think. And he was like, what else do you want to see in Boston? And I said, well, 3 miles west of Fenway is the old radio station. It was Saturday afternoon, so I was like, oh, let's buzz the radio station. That would be really cool. And I wish that I had been allowed to have my cell phone, because I think Bob Hanna was on the air at the time. And I was like, oh, I could call Bob, be like, look out the window, see the fighter jet, that's me. So as we're flying by the radio station, air traffic control at Logan comes on the radio and was basically like, are you guys done goofing around? Like, we need to let planes take off again. So Wad says, are you ready to have some fun? And I said, yes. So we were flying west. He banked and took off like a rocket north, fast. And I looked out the window and saw an airport, like really quickly, like 30 seconds. And I was like, hey, what airport is that outside the window? Because I didn't recognize what I was looking at outside the canopy. And he was like, I don't know, the big one in New Hampshire. I said, Manchester? And as soon as he said that, I looked up and we were looking at Mount Washington. Now, I've made that motorcycle ride all the way up to the top of Mount Washington. It's hours it takes to drive. We made it up there in like less than a minute. I could not believe how fast, and we weren't even going as fast as we ended up going with the 680 miles an hour and the 9Gs and the whole thing. And we did the dogfight maneuvers, and we got up over Mount Washington, and we were in secure military airspace, so we knew nobody was around. And he said, are you ready? And I was like preparing myself, because they teach you the pants that plug into the plane. They inflate when you hit the G's really hard to send the blood back up into your head again. And so I was like, they teach you in the simulator and stuff that you're supposed to go, and like force the blood into your head. Now I'm all flush because I'm doing it. And so they teach you all of this stuff. And so I started like preparing and I was like, what are you doing? And he goes, no, you take control. And I said, really? And he goes, yep, try to break my aircraft. And I said, are you kidding me? And he goes, nope, it's all yours. So I did what a little kid would do in a video game. I grabbed the thing and was like, and he's talking me through how to do loops and corkscrews. And obviously I sucked at it because at the time I was just a stupid purple hair DJ. Now I'm just stupid and have purple hair. Anyway, he was talking me through the whole thing. And then when I was done failing as a fighter pilot, he was like, do you want to see what this thing can really do? And I was like, hell yeah. And that's when he gave me the big 9 and we went 680 miles an hour. And that's when I passed out. So the answer to your question of how long did it take to get to Mount Washington, less than a minute from the radio station. It was insane how fast it is. You've done so much already. Do you have a bucket list, David wants to know? Yeah, I have a major bucket list. You know what I want to learn how to do? I want to take a glass blowing class. I don't know why. I just always thought it was really cool. I know it's something that you can do. Obviously not something I'm doing right now. And you know what else I want to learn how to do? And not for nefarious reasons, because I've seen it done in movies and TV shows. I want to get one of those little toolkits and I want to learn how to pick locks. Because it just looks so cool. They get like the dental tools and they get in there and they pick the locks. So if you're a locksmith and you want to teach me how to do that, I would love to do that. I don't know why I want to know. I don't want to break into anybody's house or anything. I just thought it would be really cool to learn how to pick locks. So I want to learn how to do that. There's a bunch of places that I want to go that, you know, like Australia. I want to finish going to all 50 states. I've been to 37. There's a Groupon for a glass blowing class. Yes, see, Ash says I've always wanted to do that too. I don't know why I've always wanted to do it. It just always thought it was cool. Al says he's a locksmith by trade. Teach me how to do that cool federal agent quietly picking the lock thing before you kick the door in and hold everybody at gunpoint. I don't want to do any of the gunpoint stuff. I just want to pick the lock. I don't know why, but I thought it would be really cool. You can go on YouTube and learn how to pick locks. I'd rather do it like for real. Monica wants to know what states I haven't been to. I've not been to Alaska or Hawaii, and like the northern core, like I've driven cross country a bunch of times, but I've done the southern route every time. So like I've been to Washington State, but I've never been to Oregon because I flew to Seattle. I've never been to like the Dakotas. I've never been to Idaho. I've never been to Wyoming. Like I want to drive that northern corridor. Sturgis has been on my bucket list of places that I want to go. There's a bunch of things that I want to do. I keep a bucket list actually in the notes on my iPhone. And every time I see something that I want to do, like I haven't seen the Northern Lights, which is on there as well. What about blacksmithing? Yes, like that stuff is just so cool. I think it's amazing when people can take heat and a few different elements and make art and make tools, people that make knives and swords, and just to be able to craft something and be like, look, I made this. I think those skills and trades are just remarkable, and I would love to learn those. Like Ralph says, Yellowstone. Yes, I would love to go and do that. Krista says, definitely try glass blowing. Also lamp working, which is small scale glass blowing. Both are a blast. See, I would love to do that. I have not seen Mount Rushmore, and I really want to do that. I want to go to all the national parks. I want to go to the Redwood Forest, which I have not done. Did a cruise along southern Alaska last August, the last frontier. That's what Dale says. I am so scared about going on a cruise, especially with everything going on right now. I am all set with getting on a cruise ship right now. I know that people love that, but it is just not something. All I can think about is where does all the poop go? Have you heard those horror stories about people getting on a cruise ship and then all of a sudden they're having like problems with the poop and then like people getting sick and getting stuck in those little rooms, or like getting on super choppy seas, and those videos of like people's cell phone cameras that are going like this because they're on a cruise ship in choppy water. I think I'm good with the cruise ships, but Paul says, I love the Taj Mahal in India. Bucket list for me. See, I would love to do that. I want to climb the Sydney Harbour Bridge in Australia. I want to go to New Zealand for sure. I would love to just eat my way through Italy for like months, to just drink wine and eat all the bread and cheese and pasta like for so long. I just want to do that. Yeah, floating petri dishes. That's what I call them, Mark. That's what I say. So exactly. So yes, I know I've done a lot of cool stuff, but there are so many people that have done things that I have just always wanted to do. I've always wanted to see, the Great Wall of China. I've always wanted to, like I said, I want to go and see the Northern Lights. I've always wanted to go to the Azores. The Betancourt family has always told me, and Gomez that we worked with at AAF has family in the Azores and has always told me how beautiful it is. I did do the motorcycle trip up the Cabot Trail in Nova Scotia, which if you are a biker, you absolutely 100% have to do that trip. Yeah, I have a huge bucket list. William says, this is running later and later every night. I know. I'm sorry. I'm begging for companionship. I'm so lonely. And I thought we were going to have Stiz on here tonight. And now I'm realizing that I can't invite anybody to talk to on here, which totally sucks. I don't know how to do it. All right. Now that I've chewed all the fruit in the sangria. Niagara Falls, Ralph says. Never seen it. Got to do that. Have I ever been to the Dragon, Jen wants to know. No, I have not. I did go. Heather says, great white sharks in South Africa is on my list. I did go to South Africa. I went on a safari, did the whole thing. I'll tell you why I didn't do the great whites. I have a lot of friends. For some reason in the skydiving community, there are a lot of people from South Africa that are skydivers. And I talked to all of my South African friends before I went there, and they all told me how detrimental it is to the ecosystem about the swimming with the great whites, because they chum the waters for the sharks so much that it's actually changed the ecosystem of the oceans off the coast of South Africa. And so all of my South African friends asked me not to feed into the tourism thing of swimming with the great whites. And so I opted, out of respect for my friends in South Africa, not to do it, which is why I didn't. But a lot of people do go down there to do that. So Ron says, go Instagram Live. So here's why I haven't gone Instagram Live and why I've opted to do Facebook instead. When you go Instagram Live, when you're done, you can save the video on your phone, but it doesn't save all the comments and stuff. So I love being able to go on Facebook Live and to ask you guys stuff, and for you guys to be able to post comments and links, and for that to stay. So when I post the video, when we're done talking live, all those comments and links and everything stay put. Whereas on Instagram Live, you can't post the video on Instagram when you're done. And if you save the video on your phone, it doesn't save the comments. I had to research that actually, which is why I haven't done the Instagram Live thing. But I might have to do it because I can't bring a guest on here. So that's maybe how Mike Shue and I will hook up virtually. And I'll let you guys know when we're going to do that. But it won't be during a Cocktails in the War Room thing. It'll be like an added thing that we do. So there you go. That's my explanation. Ooh, I just changed my screen somehow. So that's it. Did you guys take your pictures yet? We have to do the pictures. So the last couple nights, you guys have been taking selfies with me in the selfies on Facebook Live. So get ready to do it. So if you're in a room with 2 or 3 people, get one person's phone that's got me on it right now, and get the other one with a camera and take a selfie and then tweet it to me at Mistress Carrie on Twitter, or tag me on Instagram if you post the pic at Mistress Carrie WAF, or, send it to me on Facebook, however you can get it to me. But let's take a picture. Are you ready? Let's do it. 1, 2, 3. I looked like a total asshole just then, didn't I? But the pictures are going to look really cool. And I told you last night and the night before that I want to have these memories of all of us sequestered together. And when I go back and look at these photos later, you know, when you take these pictures, the comments are in there. And I just love the fact that I'm spending all of this downtime with you guys and that we're all locked in the houses and we're supporting each other. And we know that this is going to be a really hard week and the news isn't going to be great. And so just know that if you're having a hard time during the day, that you need to be here at 8:30 every night and that we'll help each other get through it. So stay positive, stay healthy, don't lick anything weird, wash your damn hands. I'll give you guys a big virtual hug. Stay positive. We are going to get through this. Don't let the depression creep in. It's going to be okay. It might not be normal for a while, but that's okay. We're all going to be there to support each other. I love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow.